Okay, so I was just looking at myself in the mirror. Okay, so I do this thing where I just look at myself in the mirror and I just talk out loud to myself. Well, I mean, I always had done it in my head. Like, I just would look at myself and, like that's what, like, positive affirmations kind of started off as. But, like, I've changed my whole inner dialogue with myself, and so I just wanted to share this, and I wanted to share it how I'm seeing it. So I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Oh, and, like, I'm really checking myself out, and honestly, like, I've come so far and I've done so good, and, like, I look fucking amazing. Like I look so good. Sometimes I can't believe that it's me sometimes, you know? Like, I'm so excited about it. But okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. So I'm sitting here and I look at myself and, like, I'm saying all these things like, you are desirable, you are beautiful, you are attractive, like, you're beautiful. I keep saying that to myself. And I see that. Like, I see that. Like, I do see that I'm beautiful. I do believe that I look good. I do believe that I am beautiful. I do believe that. And there is part of me that believes that I am desirable. But I also have the other part of me that will exist with me forever, and I look at myself in the mirror and I'm just completely disgusted at what I look like. And I feel like that's where, like, the body, like, dysmorphia and, like, it comes from, is because it's just that sense of, like, because there's parts of me I would like to still, like, change. Like, I would like a better butt. I would like, to not have this saggy skin right here, or the saggy skin on my stomach, and I do. There's part of me that hates it, but I was looking at myself in the mirror and I was, like, holding my stomach. Like, it was just a really great moment, because I was like, I finally, like, think I look beautiful. Even my saggy stomach is beautiful. Even my fat, saggy thighs are beautiful. Like, I finally had that thought, like, yes, in my, like, because there's always going to be things that we want to change, always. But this is my point. So there's two things that you can feed. You can look in the mirror and you can feed all the things you hate about yourself. That's what I used to do. I would get naked in front of the mirror before I'd take a shower, and I would just cut myself down. I would treat myself like shit, and, like, I hated being in my body, and so there's still voices in my head when I look in the mirror, and I want to talk to myself like that every day still, even with me losing weight, even with how I look now. Like, there are still days, and I have to choose to feed the good thoughts. I have to make it a choice, because there are some days when I look in the mirror and I still want to change everything, or I still think I'm not good enough. And I use this really to self-sabotage love and to receiving love, and, like, allowing myself to be touched, or allowing myself to, like, feel worthy and good and beautiful, and, like, allowing myself to feel that way. I mean, man, it's just a lot, and it's so unfamiliar. So yes, it's a challenge. Every day you're going to have to talk to yourself. And now my inner dialogue is great. Like, I was so excited, but, like, that's what I'm saying. You have to choose. What are you going to feed? Are you going to feed the hate, or are you going to feed the love? And as you do this within yourself, you're literally changing things collectively. Like, we're shifting. So, like, as you begin to, because everything that is external is internal. Like, we're all creating. So when you make that shift within yourself from hate, I mean, I had to learn the contrast. I had to have the contrast of self-hate, and I feel like a lot of people came here to really learn how to love themselves, and the only way that we can truly learn to love ourselves is when we completely hate ourselves. And so there's plenty of us that hate ourselves, and our society breeds it with comparison and, like, what they do to females and picking their bodies apart. I mean, there are women that are hating their bodies as a way to self-sabotage them from receiving love. And they use this as a defense mechanism because they've had troubles in the past. Like, there are two scenarios that I think of. One, for me personally, that I experienced was physical abuse. And so most of the times I was touched by a masculine in my life, it was painful. And so it hurt. And so I began to associate being touched by a male with pain. And so I get really tense. Like, I get really tense. It's really hard for me to relax and to, so I get really tense. That's like a defense mechanism, because it's triggering a wound. And so that's where you associate pain with love, and that's where it begins. And that's why I also speak about, like, physical abuse and, like, experiencing that, because I experienced that. And I believe that's a huge, like, patriarchal thing, and it's a very distorted masculine energy of using pain and using violence as a way to control and to make your like children behave. You know, it's a very distorted masculine energy, and it really messes up the psyche of a child. And this is why a lot of women who were, as children, grew up in homes where the father was physically abusive, they would attract an actual male in their lives that would probably, because they have this belief that pain equals love, that men will hurt them. So they end up attracting it to themselves. And that's why it's really important to heal this wound, is because we can continue to carry it on like through generations and generations until we recognize it. Sorry, this is just really challenging for me to talk about, so I'm just going to end it there. And that's how we associate pain with love, and that's a huge thing for me. I just want to kind of share my personal like things that go on with me, and like moving in, like being in a relationship, because I can still feel the energy really close to me. And so when the energy gets really close and love feels really strong, I want to go into that like defensive mode, like, you know, like, and then I want to hate my body, and then I want to use like that self-hate. And it's like, okay, so you have to see those shadows, you have to see that inner child wounding, and you have to say, okay, I see you, girl, I see you. But you're really okay, I promise. So it's just really important to like get into like that, like into that mindset of self-love and doing this. And as you do this, you really heal yourself. Like, I didn't intend, when I began saying positive affirmations in the mirror, like I didn't even know what was in store for me. Like, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like start talking nicer to myself, and it just literally completely transformed my life. And one thing led to the next, and I it's almost like I didn't realize I was healing at the time, but then I would go to another level, and I would go to another layer, and it's like you're shedding the ego. So once you begin the process of the healing, sometimes it feels like it's not actually happening, that you're not doing anything, but really you are. And as you just become more self-aware, you recognize those things. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are, and I just needed to really go on this rant.